We're good to go whenever you're ready, Dennis.
7 o'clock, so we're gonna call tonight's city council meeting, June 3rd, 2026, to order. Candace, if you'd give us a roll call, please.
Yes. Councilmember Powell,
Present.
Councilmember Norfelt,
Here.
Mayor Larson is absent. Councilmember Deline,
Here.
Councilmember Beal,
Yes.
and Councilmember Steck.
There.
Thank you. I have failed to get an opening prayer or a pledge of allegiance. So I'm going to call on Chief Zeman to lead us in a pledge of allegiance, if you would, please. And Councilmember Beal, will you give us an opening prayer? Or a thought?
Prayer first.
Yeah.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for this chance we have to meet together as a council and with input from the residents and staff. We're grateful for the blessing it is to live in this beautiful community where we care about each other and we care about our good town and the history and the future. We acknowledge thy hand in our lives and the many good things that we receive as we strive to treat others well and live according to principles that will help us all. We're grateful again for all that we have been blessed with, and we ask and pray for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Have we had anybody they want to give some public comment? No. All right, and then we'll move into our agenda. We are going to open our first public hearing after we get a little presentation from John Knudsen.
Okay, so the first presentation here is on employee compensation. State code requires us to, if you go to the next slide, Brian, to have a public hearing on any compensation increases for any executive management. So that could be city council, department directors, city manager, city attorney. We don't have one on salary here, so that doesn't apply to us. But anyway, so all the department heads are getting the COLA, which is 2.5%, and that's for every employee. 2.75, sorry. So that's what everyone's getting, with the exception of the power director at about 9%, police chief at 5.95%. So we're working on some compression on those two.
Why are they getting more?
I don't know if you want to.
Okay, so we have some compression in those two departments. So based on our wage rate study, our director should be about 15% more than their next. So this won't accomplish that exactly, but it gets us closer.
I'm not arguing against it. I just want to know why.
Yep,
Yep.
and that is the reason why.
Okay.
Mhm. And I will say, we have others that need to be increased as well, but we can't do it all in one fell swoop. So we're chipping away at it over the next couple of years.
Okay.
So that's all I have on that one, unless there's any other questions.
Thank you. So we'll open a public hearing regarding executive municipal officer compensation pursuant to Utah Code 10-3-818. We'll open it up. If there are any comments that are desired to be made, we'll have a 3-minute timer. You're welcome to come to the podium, state your name, and give us some comments.
It's just a question, but,
Well,
So
we don't answer questions at this time.
okay.
Okay, if you would like to
you
stay
can
after.
state the question.
Okay, really.
Uh,
Well, I was just, giving a percentage tells something, but it doesn't tell what the gross salary is. And I think a lot of people in the city would really like to know that. I'm sure that information is available. isn't
It is available. Any public employee. We can see any of the salaries that any of these people make in here that work for the city. It's available. Anybody know where that website is on the top of their head? And you can just Google it,
Google Utah Transparency.
Utah Transparency, and it'll bring it up.
Give me $1 million.
I'll say mine. Thank you for that question. Any other comments? If not, we will close this public hearing and we'll receive another presentation from John on our interim budget, and then we'll open another public hearing.
Right, as you know, we're required to have a budget passed before June 30th, and where we're planning to go through the truth and taxation process. We won't have that one finalized until our meeting in August, but we're still required to have a budget passed for the next year so that we can operate starting July 1st. So what we're looking at is the interim budget for fiscal year 27. And then we'll do the final budget when we have our truth and taxation here on August 19th. So the process of doing the budget is pretty involved. We get all the department heads, city manager, even city council involved with this. We start about in February and then work through it and then go through the process of going through each department, capital projects, all the needs of the city for the year. And then we have our public hearings so that the public has a chance to comment on it. So just a high level overview of our interim fiscal year 27 budget. So the total amount there, as you can see, is 19,813,000. That's for everything. That's general fund and all the enterprise funds that you see there. So obviously the big ones, electric, general fund, water, sewer, and streets are the biggest ones, as you would imagine. So those are the amounts for each one of those funds. And if you go to the next slide, it just shows a chart of kind of the breakout of those. If you're a visual person, maybe it's easier to see how it compares with the other funds, but so those are there. And then the breakout of the general fund, 6,170,000. So the revenues there, biggest ones, taxes. Majority of that is sales tax. The next is property tax, along with some other taxes in there, some utility taxes, and then the charges for services, the second biggest, which is the admin fee that is charged to the enterprise funds where they don't have their own administration. We transfer some of that back to the general fund to cover the cost of administrating the utility bills and everything that's required for those. And then you see the expenses over there. So those are by departments. And then the next couple slides show just some charts. And again, just visually what's going on there with the revenues. And then the next one is the expenses. I don't know if there's any questions up to this point. If not, we'll keep going.
Any questions, council members?
Yeah, and the next slide goes over some of the rate changes.
John, sorry, and the Scandinavian Festival one, could you back up one more, Brian? Is there a revenue from that showing or?
That's gonna be included in the miscellaneous revenue.
Okay. Cause
That's over and above the revenue. Is that revenue put back into their, or does it come into the general fund?
Well, we budget an amount of revenue that we anticipate the Scandinavian Festival bringing in. And then we also have the expenses, obviously, they don't match. you know, the city's covering part of that.
Does it almost offset? I should know that, but
No, it's,
not too close.
no.
Because this year, the reason I guess I'm thinking that way is the car show
Mhm.
generated some.
Yes, the car show it was twice as big as it was previously. 3 times. 3 times. Well, we were told twice as big by Michael, and it did bring in, like 1,000. They cleared. Yes.
Okay, I just was curious if we're getting
And
closer
the
to.
cost of the festival was about around 63-ish thousand. So 1,000 is really good, but it's not quite there yet.
It is something that the board is discussing and would like to be able to get closer to being able to break even. So they're working towards that, but
And they're getting there. I mean, it's not close yet, but with booth fees and the car show and some of the things that they're doing, it's increasing on the revenue side.
When we have headliners like Ryan Shoup, for example, he came for not very much money. But we never charge for things like that, or he doesn't, right? So just the financial side of me is like, we could probably get that closer to break even, but it's not.
Are we figuring the taxes that we get from the vendors? Do we see that?
We do, it's kind of hard to pick out exactly which ones are generated from that. I mean, in 2 months, we could look at it and see if we can estimate about how much tax revenue was brought in, yeah.
That's because that's a special application, right?
Right.
And I'll just say, the purpose of Scandinavian Days, it's a celebration. So we're not trying to make money on this. We're trying to offset some costs, but really it's a celebration of Ephraim and our heritage. So we're not looking to make money on this.
Oh, come on.
Sorry, Lauren.
it is a blessing to our businesses
It
as
is,
well.
yeah.
And our little economy here. So it is I mean,
We like to have,
I don't know if it's that much of a blessing, but
we like to have an offsetting expenses and income celebration.
You're in charge of that.
All right, that's just the way I see it. Sorry.
thank you for those questions. Any others? Just for John Anderson. Go ahead, John.
All right, next slide. So as you know, we've talked about included in the interim budget is the water sewer rate increases with the recent rate studies that we've had done. Also includes the power rate increase. We haven't talked about that one a lot. But we did the power rate study 3 years ago. At the time, it was a 5-year study, well, not study, but a 5-year implementation. At the time, city council approved 3 of those years, so fiscal year 27 will be the third and final year that was approved. So that's also in there for this year. And then the certified tax rate, which, as you know, will be going over even more. And then the list of capital projects. Pretty sure we talked about all of those with our budget retreat. And you can see the ones up there that are associated with the truth and taxation with the TNT at the end of them. I think that's it there. Yeah.
Any other questions for John before we let him sit down and put up the public hearing? Thank you, John. So we will open up a public hearing regarding the proposed fiscal year 2027 interim budget, including the proposed property tax increase above the certified tax rate and a separate property tax impact schedule. Same rules apply, same invitation applies. If anybody.
I might embarrass my son.
That's what moms are supposed to do. Can you come to the pulpit, the podium, Bonnie?
I might have to put in my hearing aids in order to
Here,
hear.
wear this.
Huh?
Yeah, wear that. Nobody's taking a picture.
But she's gonna talk real loud with these on.
I'm not gonna take very long. I'm just gonna express some feelings. My name is Bonnie Nielsen, in case you don't know. Uh, Now, it seems to me the last little while, well, not just little while, that the city is spending a lot of money. Now you're increasing the wages on those that you listed by 2.75%. You're raising the water and the sewer $47 per family, right?
247 from 30.
Yeah,
The raise is.
$47.
That's what we're gonna pay now.
No, 17 more dollars.
So the raise
Well,
is 17.
Okay, but yeah, it's raised $17. Then you're raising a tax on top of that. Where does all this come from? The taxpayer? I mean, it seems like you're going overboard. Maybe you don't agree, but that's what I see of it.
Thank you. Anybody else interested in making a comment in this public hearing? Seeing nobody, we will close the public hearing for the proposed fiscal year 2027 interim budget. So at this point, any discussion among the council members?
So with this, let's take the water for instance. Okay, we are gonna raise it $17. Okay. And so when Mr. Lambert stood up 2 weeks ago and talked about accountability for the money that we're gonna acquire from that. I thought a lot about that. And we have lots of projects. I mean, if we're taking water projects, Jeff said he's got a water line up on 4th East that's deteriorating, right? Okay, so why can't we take that $17 or part of it, okay? I realize that things cost more money than they did yesterday. But if we can specifically use that $17, okay, per person and target those projects without throwing it into the general fund. Okay, that way we become accountable to the citizens about where the $17 goes. Okay, I really think that we need to take those specific dollars and put them to those specific projects. If we got a sewer problem, then let's put it towards the sewer. And I'd like to see an accounting. Sorry, John, I'm not pointing at you, but I'm pointing at you, okay? I would like, for me as a citizen, I would like to see those dollars used specifically for that and not just lumped in the fund.
You know, as it turns out,
Your wish is
it has
granted.
been granted
Perfect.
because all of the money that is collected for these utility fees,
Yep.
they can only be used for the water projects. They can only be used for sewer projects. So wish granted. And
Right.
if you want to see an accounting, we can show you a list of the things that we've accomplished in the past year.
That's good. And that's what I'm saying, especially for this tax increase here, okay? That the things that need to be on, that are high priority,
Right.
okay? That 1 year from now, okay, we come back and revisit this and say, okay, so what did our $17 get us? Did it clear up Jeff's problem along 4th East?
Yeah. Brian, do you want to pull up that capital improvement list?
I saw that list.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
so we are targeting, okay, so,
I mean, Jeff sat here and said we had it was $180,000 for the pipe that he needed to finish 4th East, right? And so I called up one of my excavator friends and did a little math in my head about, how many connections there are, what we're gonna get for our $17, what his piping needs into it. And I think in a year, we should have a proposal come back and we should have that project finished. Okay, that he's having to go back and back and back again. So, okay,
Yes,
You can see the 150,000 to replace, reline existing lines. It's about right in the middle under sewer.
right, and he told us that was just. Oh. Under sewer, now we're talking about, he's talking about Fourth East, when he stood here for $180,000 just for the pipe up along Fourth East to finish
Yeah.
that pipe, right?
So
And so I think, we need to target those things that are definitely high up on his list and make it accounting back. So when Mr. Lambert shows back up here a year from now and said, this is what you got for your $17.
we would love to do that.
Perfect.
How much of this is already going to projects we're doing is my other question, because we're doing the upper pipeline.
Right, Yeah.
We're still finishing the lower,
right.
we still have some
Yes.
offsets
I
there.
was just gonna mention real fast that that was one example of many projects.
I know we've got lots of problems.
So we're prioritizing projects and working down the list.
I know.
We are working on that, and we were happy to come back and give an accounting of what's been accomplished.
Okay. But, yeah. I mean, he keeps saying he keeps digging into that pipe year after year after year. Okay, then for me, that becomes high priority, right? We gotta give him a new tire because it keeps going flat. Let's give him a new tire.
Right.
So,
And if you would like, what we'll do is, we can just keep a running list. I can't keep straight all the things that.
No, but I
Jeff
think that's what-
does.
I think between John and Jeff, that's where it ought to be. Okay, so when
But-
somebody, we come back to
Yeah,
ask, and
do that.
I think we ought to have a report on that. Especially to be able to come back, so when the citizens ask us that question, okay,
Yeah.
we say, here's what you got for your $17, okay? It's underground, you can't see it, but we don't have to continue to fix it all the time. Okay, it's a problem that's existed for Ecom City, for one of the first lines that was put in there. So, I just,
That's exactly what we're doing with our canyon line right now.
perfect,
That was the highest identified priority. We've been into that a number of times. It's a
Okay.
critical piece of our infrastructure. We're working on that right now with the
Okay.
canyon water line. So that's a great example.
But I love your idea. I love your idea to have, more prominently displayed
yep.
our completed projects. I think that's a really good idea.
Sometimes we don't see that as citizens where it goes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's on the surface, we see that.
let's nail it down. When are we gonna have that report?
I can have, we can have a list of completed projects from the past fiscal year. We can have that in July.
Yeah, from this 26 year,
Yeah,
and then we'll get another one in
Yeah.
another year in next July.
Okay.
That'll show this, that'll include these increases.
we have some pictures.
I would just like to see that $17 targeted towards something, not just floating. We've already got our $30, which is fixing what we've got going here, right? And I know we're always needing more money, but I would like to really see that $17 in the water and the extra money in the sewer, what we're targeting for it in 1 year, and see what we can do.
All right, sounds great.
And the study has shown that that $30 is barely covering
I
our
understand.
cost
Yeah,
to provide water, right? So any wise business owner, any wise homeowner is going to hopefully be able to and make decisions to set aside a little extra, right? For when that emergency happens. And that's why we need to raise the rates. Because we're barely covering, we're not setting anything aside, we're not adding to our savings, right? For these emergencies. So in the next few years, and as we've mentioned, prices to replace those lines are just
yeah.
have skyrocketed.
Right.
The last few years.
Even if you split the $17, if you take 7 of it, if we're just barely scraping by and we take 37, right? And make things happen, but still take a portion of that. Okay, we took $10 of that increase and made some significant. Okay,
Yeah.
significant changes.
Thank you. Any other comments regarding the budget?
What do you got, Cameron? We want to hear from you.
No, it was partly what I wanted to say was exactly that. if you're increasing it by $17 to make that revenue or that reserve fund, how are you gonna fix Fourth East? So you gotta save that money. The math just doesn't add up. You wanna do one thing, and I agree with you. Let's see where that money is going,
Yeah.
what it's being utilized for.
Right.
And yeah, it may take us a couple of years to save up to be able to do those lines.
I mean,
And hopefully-
obviously it's been ignored until now.
And hopefully we don't have a costly emergency that we can't afford to pay for in the meantime. So thank you. All right, any other, public hearing has been closed. So,
I opened it back up to him, I'm sorry.
we're not gonna take any more public comment. When I ask for questions, it's for these council members up here on the dais.
I'm sorry. I opened it back up. I wanted to hear what he had to say.
That's all right. We're learning, we're all learning.
I do appreciate, maybe I would just mention an observation, but getting on to city council, it feels like I was more in the know of things like this. This itemized capital projects thing is not generally made public. It may be hidden somewhere on the website. I don't mean hidden in a negative way, but it may be buried somewhere. But it does beg the question, if our budget, our total budget as a city is 19.8, right? It's $20 million. Is that right?
That's a little misleading as well, but yes.
Yeah, because we have grants and all sorts of things. I guess just from a work perspective, where I've worked in the past at different institutions, it's kind of a blessing and a curse to open it all up, because there does need to be some, of course, accountability and trust in the officers and staff who've been appointed. But I do think that what Councilmember Steck is saying and Nordfelder saying, it could be a blessing. It could be one of those, they can see behind the curtain and really see what's going on. The Scandinavian Festival is a very tiny example, but how many residents might actually think it's pretty cool that it is not a money-making endeavor, but it is a celebration. And we're not too worried about making money, even breaking even. But there are some things that we're doing and collecting some nominal fees and things from vendors that make it great. And I think some people might have the misunderstanding that it is a money-making venture, as crazy as that sounds to staff, right? It's like, are you kidding me? It's not even, but just rambling for a second, but there you go.
Thank you. Any other comments? Are you ready for a motion?
I'm done, sorry.
I'm happy to attempt a motion.
Please.
I would move that we adopt resolution ECR 26-08, adopting the fiscal year 2027 interim budget, including the property tax impact schedule and proposed property tax increase above the certified tax rate.
Motion by Councilmember Powell,
Second.
second by Councilmember Bill. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
It's unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, now we're going to have item 1C, presentation and statement regarding Ephraim City's consideration of a property tax increase above the certified tax rate. Again, we'll ask John to start us off.
Right, so more of the requirements from the state for going through the truth and taxation process and certifying the tax rate above what the county has set. So right now, fiscal year 26, property taxes are set at $360,000. The proposed amount in fiscal year 27 is the $427,000, which is an estimated increase of about 59,000, and that's after anticipated growth of 7,500 on top of the fiscal year 26 amount. So that's about a 16% increase, and that is for fire department equipment, skate park maintenance and park maintenance. And so that's the playground surface and the drainage at the Canyon View Park. And our truth and taxation meeting is set for August 19th at 7 PM here in this room. And if we go to the next slide, we've seen these before, but we need to talk about these every time we talk about budget. So we'll probably see these one or two more times. So this is the property tax impact schedule. This explains what the current rate is, what we anticipate the rate being after we go through the truth and taxation process. If the 59,000 is accepted, that's an increase of about 16%, like I said. And the rates are there. These are all estimates again, because we don't have the tax rate website isn't updated yet and ready for us to put the numbers in. And the estimated increase on $415,000 house is about $27. So
Per year,
per year, yes, not month, per year.
so a little over $2 a month. So that 16% increase, that's not what our residents will see on their tax bill.
Right. Yeah, that's just the total amount. So the total amount is gonna be based off of this, and again, that's gonna change a little bit.
59,000 divided by the 360 or the 450,000, that's
No, it's the total amount, so 427,000
427.
divided by the 368,000 is the 16%. So we could get the tax rate from the county back, and from growth, it could be more than the 7,500, and that 16% would look more like 13 or whatever.
It will change,
Yeah,
and these numbers will probably be tweaked a little bit.
yeah. So these are all estimates at this point, but we are looking at the 427,000 as a total. That number won't change.
What we need.
Yeah.
And so the date, again, we need to make sure everybody here that's interested, the public hearing on this will be August 19th, 7 PM. So encourage you to mark your calendars and be here for that.
We'll have the numbers by then.
Yeah, we'll have final answer by then.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are required to be submitted by June 22nd, which is after the hearing, but we'll have those numbers submitted well before the meeting.
There are very specific steps that we need to take according to the state for this process. And this is one of them, what we're talking about tonight and this resolution that we're making tonight. So
Right.
any questions for John?
How does that work out in these multifamily homes? If I own, how does that work out?
So the way that it works is we set the amount, so 427,000. And then the county will, through their assessments, they determine the value of each of those properties, and then it's all based off of a percentage, so. Just it's all based off what the county assesses the value of that property at. And just takes that 427,000 and divides it out between each of the properties.
And if it's one person that owns that whole property, then they're paying on that the value of the whole property.
Right.
If it's multiple owners, then they each are paying their percentage, their
Yeah.
portion.
Okay.
Question along those lines, John. So if you've got a multifamily housing unit, is that considered a primary residence? Or is that considered a business?
It's most likely business, but if it's multifamily, like a townhouse, and that townhouses are owned by the individual, and that's a primary residence, then it would be the residential. But if it's townhouses that are rented out, the property owner will be built that at a commercial rate.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's part of my question.
So residential properties gets the 45% discount on that.
Great questions. Any others? All right, thanks, John. Want to try another motion? But
Be happy to. I would. If we need to have, is that for public comment? No,
no, that's not until August
No,
19th.
that's right, because we're setting that. My bad. I would move that we adopt resolution ECR 26-09, acknowledging the proposed property tax increase and property tax impact schedule, declaring the city's intent to consider a property tax increase above the certified tax rate for fiscal year 2027, and setting a truth in taxation public hearing for August 19th, 2026 at 7 p.m.
Motion made by Councilmember Powell,
Second.
seconded by Councilmember Delane. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
It's unanimous. Thank you. We'll move on to item number 2, consent items, the ratification of the warrant register May 16th through May 29th, and approval of the May 20th city council meeting minutes. Motion on that? No. Just us two. Thank you. Any comments or questions regarding consent items, or if not, can I have a motion?
I motion that we accept the consent items.
Motion made by Councilmember Delane,
I second it.
seconded by Councilmember Steck. All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. And now the study agenda. 3A, Jordan Howe is going to tell us about this UDOT Manti to Ephraim bike trail. Jordan.
Hello, man. So I'm not sure what you've heard about the trail so far, but basically, this is part of the Utah Master Plan trail that they're trying to connect to go all through Utah. And I believe hopefully tied into the trail in Ridgeville that goes to the Big Rock Canyon Mountains. But yeah, so this is why it got approved. It's just part of the master plan. So basically, they will build the trail. They're planning on making it.
When you say they, you mean?
UDOT, yeah, sorry, UDOT will build a trail, cover the cost for all of that. Lauren,
If this is UDOT's project, Tori, no offense, but why aren't they standing here?
because we need to make a decision on our part of the project, which is maintaining the trail.
Okay, just wondering.
Yeah. So yeah,
They have been here. In the past, we've had a couple of different presentations
Okay, sorry.
on this. No, it's a great question.
I just.
Yeah.
If it's their idea,
Yeah.
send their people, no offense.
yeah, I mean, I know you don't like hearing from me that much.
I love to hear from them.
Or looking at you.
Yeah, no, I get that a lot too, honestly. But yeah, no, yeah.
A nickel.
They came a few months ago and talked about, they were.
It was last summer.
Was I sleeping?
West side of.
Last summer? Okay, all right.
When he says a few months ago, he means.
A year ago.
I know time's moving fast.
Yeah, and to be honest, they could probably explain better than I could anyway, but. Yeah, we had a Zoom call with, it was me, Kevin Richardson with the county, and Jason Brown, Jason Brown of Manti City. They kind of went over the plan, and yeah, the kicker is they need someone to maintain it, and they are not the ones to maintain it, and so. What we need to decide as a city is if we would be willing to service a portion, or, as
Our portion.
yeah, our portion, as we can determine based on an agreement with Manti and the county. And obviously, I say, we don't like, when Lauren hears about this, he's gonna be ticked, we don't like spending money on stuff and basically the county said the same thing, Manti said the same thing, like, hey, like, money's tight all around. So they said, yeah, we get that, that's an issue. But we would like to do this trail project. We just need someone to maintain it. We need an agreement with the cities. So with the best I can do, I kind of did some research. I made some phone calls. I've had one company telling me, hey, 3 years would be better to service it, but it seems like it's typical for every 7 to 10 years would be maintenance for the trail. But yeah, I've gone for the seal coat, anywhere from 18 cents to 30 cents a square foot. I've heard, but I've heard that 20 to 25 cents is more typical of that. On top of so the seal coat's the bare bones for servicing a trail. You can, on top of that, there's also crack seal rubber, which helps with servicing it as well, or you can just do like a spot treatment, what I understand of that. And that didn't include that, but that's 50 cents to $1.25 for a square foot of that, per pound for that. I apologize, I didn't put it in my report just because it was an extra add-on.
Jordan, can you remind us, I was just teasing you earlier, I'd like to. So between the couple of presentations we've had, I don't remember if this is going to take the place of the existing four-wheeler track trail that's not sanctioned, but there.
I believe that is,
But very well used.
I
Because
believe that is what
because I know we
we're,
talked about the west side of 89
Yeah,
at some points, but right now there's kids, of course, that whip up and down, and even farmers on the east side. Some four-wheelers and those types of things, but is this going to make that redundant?
yeah, no, I did bring that up. I just said, hey, I know there's a bike trail, but there's, a lot of four-wheelers down there as well. And they're like, oh, we didn't know that.
12 feet. Right.
Yeah, so, yeah, as far as this trail is concerned, ATV, UTV, gas-powered vehicles are not allowed on this trail, and would not be allowed on this trail. So, yeah, it will be on the east side. So just on the west side, but yeah, no, they would not be allowed on this trail. What UDOT was telling us.
What's the master, I mean, and this may not be that's why I'm asking what UDOT's not here. What's the master plan for the road between Ephraim and Manti? Okay? My thing about this is if we go and build this bike trail, okay? And we have, the road goes like this back and forth between Ephraim and Manti, okay? So what happens if we cut into our bike path that we spent money on today? Now they widen the road out tomorrow, okay? Now we just threw money down the toilet, in my opinion, okay? And so that's why I'm saying, do we know what's gonna happen with the road in widening it between Ephraim and Manti? I think eventually we're gonna get there.
I think master plan is 5 lanes all the way through.
Okay.
Eventually.
Are we gonna encroach on this trail? Your opinion?
My opinion is if the trail goes in before the road is widened, anytime a road widening project goes in, they're supposed to restore whatever they impact. So if they cut a fence, they gotta move the fence back. If they cut a trail, my opinion, they should move the trail back and deal with that at that point.
We're wasting money. Anyway, that's one question I've been thinking about when I've heard this.
So UDOT would pay for it though, if they expand the road and to redo the trail.
That's typically how it's worked when I worked with UDOT before, is if a project comes up, the project would pay for it,
Yeah.
whatever impacts they create.
And it is UDOT that's building the trail, not us.
I know, but
But and then they would, it would look like it.
It could be the same as like any curb and gutter or sidewalk. If you build a sidewalk and then you expand the road, you'd have to relocate the sidewalk, all that stuff.
okay, I'm just bringing up a different point.
Planning on their part if they haven't. Take that into consideration.
Yeah, I agree. I would argue that if we know what's gonna happen, both are gonna happen, they should build it in the right place in the first place.
Correct.
Not just,
Maybe that's something that we could.
And I didn't want to, sorry, come with your presentation, then I'll ask more questions. Sorry.
Okay. But, I mean, no, you guys kind of get the idea where we're at.
They want to build it, they want us to maintain it.
Yes, well, us, the county and Manti in some sort of arrangement there.
And that 7 miles and those total numbers,
Possibly 7 miles is kind of.
that's the whole thing. That's not our part.
No,
That'll be the whole thing that we
No.
would.
yeah, so technically, like, if it was city limits, we'd probably have, I don't know if we'd even have a mile,
It's mostly county.
yeah, it's mostly county and the county saying,
They don't have the.
we're broke, yeah, and we're all essentially saying we're broke when it comes to this agreement, but. I guess the decision is, are we willing to come to an agreement with Manti County to find a way to make this work for the community? I mean, with the study, there's only 56 responses, but it does seem like it's a priority to have.
Show us that, show us what the response is from the.
Can you just scroll aside? Yeah, so Kevin Christensen put together a little survey. And if you want to make it more extensive, we can try and get more surveys out. This is something he did, and I can go to work on getting more surveys and getting a better picture of what a priority is. But the paved trail connecting Ephraim and Manti, that's what scored the highest out of all the trail work projects that he had considered for the county or just around Ephraim and Manti. Like I said, it's a limited sample size, it's 56 people. So, I mean, don't take it as,
Half of them were in Manti and.
yeah,
If you go 40% were Ephraim, 35% were Ephraim,
yeah.
or not quite half. Is there a deadline that they need a decision, that we need to make a decision by?
Yeah, I believe very soon.
Very soon.
Is there a time,
Um,
having,
this is on study right now,
Yeah.
so we would bring it back at the next council meeting, if you so choose. If the sentiment of the council is like, we are absolutely not interested in this, then we will send the message back to UDOT that we are absolutely not interested in this. If we want to send the message back that we could be interested if X, Y, and Z happens, then we'll do that. And so, something that Jason Brown did bring up, he's the city manager over in Manti. He said, this could add to our total of lane miles that we could be credited by the state. So there's something, so a little bit more money would be coming to us because of that.
We talked to B and C road funds.
Yeah, BNC road funds. So is it enough to pay our portion? Not sure on that. Also, the argument is it's a quality of life
Yeah.
issue, all right? It is part of a larger system that they're trying to build throughout the state. Build but not maintain. So there's that. Cons, I think they're gonna have a real problem keeping motorized vehicles off of this. It's gonna displace people who are currently using that space. I am not sure on how much it's gonna cost us per year. What I assume is gonna happen is we'll probably let it go until something is really horrible, and then we'll all have to get together and try to figure out how to pay for it. I don't see us maintaining it every year. I don't see that. I definitely don't see us,
We shouldn't have to.
yeah. So, and I
Unless
definitely don't see us
Have
out
four
there.
wheelers right now.
It's asphalt.
Yeah.
Look what it takes to maintain the city asphalt, right?
Right,
I mean, I got Christensen's to come up to maintain my asphalt around my business. It's not cheap.
yeah,
And so
that's right.
How often do you have to do it?
I have to, if I don't stay on that asphalt at least every other year, it'll
That's
come.
good.
Yeah.
That is good
Okay.
feedback.
And so
And if we're having four wheelers ride it, more than cyclists.
and what does it really mean to maintain that too, right?
It's interesting to,
Do we have to push the snow across it
well, we didn't,
in the winter?
we didn't approach them. This isn't a need that we,
This is not something that you identified in your strategic planning process,
that we.
is what I will
connect-
say.
Connect the two towns more than they are.
I will say this too, that cyclists in this city and in this county, they can't cycle here. The road, I mean, it's just too crazy. There's no shoulder.
They go up in the mountains.
Mountain bikers
Yeah.
have all kinds of trails. But road bikers, this would be a great blessing for them. They drive their bikes other places and
So just
Where
one
it's
quick
safe.
comment on that note, UDOT's this has been on UDOT's radar for a long time. There's been a very vocal group of riders who have been on UDOT for a long time about this.
They're the squeaky wheel.
They are the squeaky wheel. When the projects were done, first started in the middle by the airport, and then the second one was Manti to the airport. Both of those projects added in considerable shoulder because there was no shoulder previously. Bikers were basically riding on the white line or very close to it. So they've tried to build in some shoulder now, but there is no shoulder currently.
Great deal of it.
Mostly just acknowledging that there is a local group petitioning for bike lanes.
And this is the larger piece, not just the Ephraim to Manta, but they want to connect all the way down to Big Rock Candy Mountain.
Eventually go statewide, right? They're looking at a master plan for almost all of it, Highway 89, yeah. Eventually, right? That's the big picture.
I guess the difference to me in something like even the Ephraim Canyon sidewalk project that was all or mostly funded with a grant. Sorry, I don't remember.
Yeah,
that
that
one.
was 94% grant funded.
Okay, and it's concrete, it's a little different. Fairly underutilized, I live there. It's not a highly trafficked thing. Even after school, before school, virtually nobody, but after school, there's a handful of kids that use that. It may grow in the future as more homes go up, but that's a very different material, and we went after it, and it was a need, and so, yeah, I'm less enthusiastic. We're not asking about my personal feelings, but there you go.
Yeah.
Jordan. So Gunnison has their trail that they've done that goes through.
Kind of on the backside.
Gunnison City has their trail that goes through and through the Riverwalk, and then it actually goes up by up in front of the prison.
Yeah.
And this trail would eventually, they're hopeful would connect into that. I was just wondering, maybe we could call Gunnison to see what their average cost is to maintain it within their, and you know, just how often they have to. I believe it's the same material.
No, yeah, I answered it. I reached out to Gunnison too. I emailed Spring City's mayor because they're the ones that just recently got their trail done. And I wanted to get his thoughts and this, because I'm sure he's been through this whole thing already. Fortunately, he didn't get back to me yet, but yeah, no, I'm happy to reach out on behalf to Gunnison as well, just to get some stats for them. As far as paying for it though, I did list funding opportunities. So none of these are guaranteed, obviously. For rat tax, which Jack will head up, you get roughly 60,000, well, roughly $100,000 to $120,000 in rat tax per year. So it wouldn't be a huge hit to rat tax if they set aside an amount every other year. Obviously, rat tax will need to be voted on in a couple of more years down the road. So rat tax isn't guaranteed to be there in the future. I'm hoping to make a campaign to encourage people to vote for it because it's been really good for the community and bringing amenities to the community. So we could easily pay for the money with a portion of rat tax each year, just setting that aside. That's just dependent on if the board votes on it. And there is the Recreation Restoration Infrastructure Grant. I believe a grant that was co-signed by Manti City, Sanpete County, and Ephraim City would be very competitive for getting funds to repair the trail down the road. And that goes up to $200,000, I believe, as well. So that would just take care of it all in one sweep. And then who knows, in another 10 years, we can apply for it again. But yeah, just thinking about outside the box ways to fund it, that's a way where it doesn't impact our bottom line with our budget and makes it kind of a more convenient way to not have to worry about it.
Have you brought this up with your rec board? No? What's their feelings?
Oh, hey, I haven't, well, my last rec board meeting, my wife decided to give birth, so I haven't been able to meet with them for a while. But no, I haven't yet. We'll be meeting next Wednesday, so let's get their thoughts on it as well. But yeah, I think more data just to get an idea for Ephraim residents on if this is worth it for everyone and if they will use it would be helpful in coming to a decision as well.
Can I ask you a quick question? The numbers that you have here, you have a low and a high estimate for maintenance, 90 to 110,000 roughly. The other entities, has anything been proposed as far as a split? Like an equal split or a weighted split or
anything? Has anybody talked actual numbers?
As far as splitting, no, like, it's just been, yeah, me, Manti's, city manager and Kevin, so like, we haven't really, cause like, no one's really sure. I mean, it'd be great to get Manti's thoughts on it as well, cause like, if they say no, it's probably a no for us. It's gotta be yes from all three of us. So, yeah, it's just deciding if we want it.
It's being presented to Manti City Council tonight as well.
So, I mean, even a best case, whether it's 50-50 with us and Manti or a three-way with us, Manti and the county. That takes that number down. If you have 120 for a wrap tax, for example, and you take a third of the cost, roughly $35,000.
Yeah.
You still have some left over for other projects for wrap and things like that. This is not an every year thing. So in that sense, as long as we can get buy-in from other entities, it may not be as bad as what your numbers show here, at least, right?
Yeah, so yeah.
It's still something to consider. Like, this is still funding infrastructure that's outside of our jurisdiction. All of that kind of stuff, and it opens up a whole bunch of other questions. Who maintains snowplow, right? Like, all of that kind of stuff. There's a bunch of questions there.
Yeah, no, that's a good point though, like, that big number isn't as scary when you realize you got two teammates in it as well to help out with it.
I'll give you my personal, just my personal experience. When we moved here 10 years ago, I have a nice bicycle. And I took it out twice, I think. And we just about killed one time. I don't know how close they were, but I felt it. And so my son-in-law has my nice bicycle now. If this were to happen, I might take my bike back from my son-in-law, right? And I don't know how many other people in our city are like that. But that's just me.
I think it's a great idea. I think Ephraim City should maintain Ephraim City boundaries. I don't think that we should have to pay for this. If it's state of Utah's idea, great, bring your money.
Yeah.
There you go. There's mine, plain and simple.
So we'll take 10% of it. The county, most of it's in the county, right? But the users of it will be mostly Manti and Ephraim.
Yeah.
I think.
But tourists.
Well, I mean, we have these bike races in
And people
Ephraim.
coming to pay hotel fees and things like that.
Just thought I'd throw that in.
Very good.
That bring money.
But I hear you, I understand, but I'm just trying to play devil's advocate that the county, this is what the county's gonna say.
I mean, for the safety of the biker and those who bike like you, I think it's a great idea. I think that they need to be off the road. We already lost one guy down by Gunnison 2 or 3 years ago, right? Tragic things, okay? There wasn't enough room onto it, okay? If the state sees it as a issue, okay, and they're proposing it, bring on your money. I just don't think Ephraim citizens should have to pay, okay, for a small, narrow bunch of people who ride bike.
Yeah.
Okay?
When it comes through our city, then, and that's the
We're gonna
plan
be
too.
coming through our city down Main Street, right? How are we gonna,
The
how,
plan, that we would maintain then our city,
yeah,
as it goes through our city, on its way up to Spring City. And
Representative Shelley,
Sorry.
did you hear this?
It actually won't go through Main Street. If you remember the plan. Yeah, it's gonna go 100 east and back up and then come back down on 700 north and then go up that way. And they've done multiple presentations and with Community Development Planning Commission, City Council, they had multiple open houses here where citizens could come and weigh in, give their thoughts where they wanted it, if they did want it. So this has been, well, I think we've seen a presentation like, over the last 3 years, multiple iterations of this in public meetings and stuff like that. And so it isn't gonna go on Main Street, but I remember when it was posed before Planning Commission, they all unanimously supported it and it will serve people also walking, things like that. So just from that perspective, I think a lot of Ephraim City residents did want something like that. It was also to help serve the college and the community of students there that have to walk a lot and don't have vehicles. So maybe there's some type of partnership with the college in maintaining that road or the path as well.
But
Well,
just to
so
be
we're-
clear, this section that
We're
we're
just
talking about,
this one right here.
7 miles between Ephraim and Benton.
Yeah.
yeah, the county, in the county portion, yeah.
Did we ever resolve, Megan, the issue? Sorry, it's not this one, but along 100 East by the middle school, I know it was problematic. We weren't sure where we were gonna put in front of the middle school or if there was enough room.
I don't believe they came back with like, we
There's-
made that point.
They
but-
did issue a report and they gave a preferred location,
Yeah.
but there is no final decision made. That's simply the report that they can use to help go after some funding and then make final design.
And I appreciate that's different than this tonight. It just, you're right though.
And those meetings, like, they took all those things into consideration, but we haven't seen like a final thing that will be
They,
adopted from
they
them.
did give us a report. The report's done.
Oh, okay.
And they have a recommended location, but that's not set in stone necessarily.
So when they do these rides like Loaded Job, Logan and Jackson Hole, right?
Salt and Saint.
Yes, exactly. But the Salt to Saint,
They do come through.
They come right downtown.
They've been on that
and I personally have,
section.
I've probably done it 5 times. I've run on foot, not on bike, but from my house to Manti and back, just in the 4-wheeler trails, which is kind of awesome. But I've gone on both sides of 89, possibly illegally, I don't know. But there's enough, I mean, I could definitely, if I can run, I can definitely take a bike down that too, but I think what Councilmember Stack has talked about is similar to what I'm thinking, that in town is one thing, and maintaining that perhaps, but county stuff, we don't have a whole lot of extra budget as we've been talking about.
The voices we're hearing from out of town are probably, at least I think it, are these big bike races that are coming down and want to get them off and have come down through town. Right? It's not necessarily Ephraim citizens that are the voices that are talking about that. These are the sponsored races that are coming through Sanpete County. And
They're
so
putting pressure on UDOT, is that what you mean?
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not really, we're not hearing it from Ephraim cities, are we? I'm not hearing
We've
it.
got a few,
Okay,
we've got a few.
So over the last, several years of open houses and things like that, we drew a lot of interest. There was a lot of interest from residents and things like that. My experience with the last bike race that came through, they shut down the highway, they had hundreds of riders. The big one that came through, I'm not sure that would be fit on a single lane bike trail for
Yeah.
that big one, but some of the less big, like smaller stuff would probably use that.
Yeah, we might see some additional races or, biking outings if we had it, but, so is there something that we want to give as an assignment to
I think
Jordan
we
to
need-
do before?
Because the legislature is always doing this, and we need to involve Troy and Darren and say, listen, pony up. If the state wants to do it, we really do need to get them involved instead of the cities taking the brunt. I think we need to have that conversation with them. Because year after year, things are passed but never funded.
I can't imagine that this whole state plan, is that their plan for this whole trail from the whole state, that they build it and then they wash their hands of the whole thing?
I'll have to go through and I know the Utah Trail, it's called the Utah Trail Master Plan. I'm not sure where it all runs through, but yeah, there is a case for, Sanpete County is what, the second or third most poor county in the state. So I think, it's kind of implied that we might need a little more assistance than, say Utah County or, St. George. But yeah, I think that would be a good idea to reach out to them.
So we're interested in what the other entities have to say, Manti's having the same conversation tonight. I think we all feel that we are happy to maintain Ephraim's city's portion of it.
Right.
What the county commissioners say? Have we heard from them?
We have not heard from them yet.
Okay. Same thing.
So, you know,
Cause it can be a beautiful thing. Dennis and I used to live up, pretty near the Jordan River Parkway. It's a
Yeah.
beautified an area that was not great before.
yeah,
And sorry,
Amazing.
but too, but, this isn't that. I mean, that's kind of it. So,
all right,
Yeah,
thank
just
you.
in closing, just consider there are other ways to pay for that.
Yeah.
It's not out of our budget as well. But yeah, any other homework you got for me, I'm happy to reach out to Gunnison to see if they have any stats for me.
And we like the idea. I think we all like it.
Yeah,
How's Springsteen gonna pay for that pavement that they just put down between there and Mount Pleasant?
that's why I asked him. I'm like, yeah, I that's a lot of trail, you know?
That is a lot of.
I'm sure the county gave him the same answer he gave us. But yeah, I reached out to him. That's why I wanted to know and problems he's dealt with, but he ghosted me, so I'll respond again and say, hey, not cool, you're a mayor, you're supposed to respond to me.
You're not his resident.
Yeah, put that as heavy messenger, the Spring City mayor. Very great director.
I'm gonna stop you right here.
Nominally paid by the Mormon Pioneer National Heritage.
Are they servicing it too, though? You know?
Well, I bet you if it came down to that, they would provide some.
Thank you, Jack.
If I might, I just express my biggest concern
Yeah.
with this. I like the idea. I like everything that I'm hearing. My biggest concern that I have, just looking at it from experience and looking to, with my past employment, I used to travel the corridor that goes down past Big Rock Candy Mountain all the time, and I am blown away at how often that trail is actually used through that canyon.
Oh, really?
It's utilized quite a bit. It really surprised me. How often I would see that. So I see this as, I think we will be surprised by the number of people who will actually use it.
If you.
I would never run. I'm not as brave as Councilmember Beal. I would never run on that trail, but I would love to have a trail I could run, something like that. If it was there, I would consider it, and I'd probably jump on my bike and try it with my son. But my biggest concern that I have is I watch that the use of that is the motorcycles, the UTVs, and the farmers, because
Yeah, especially rural
they
Utah.
use, the farmers use UTVs or, to get on there, but that's different. You still have UTVs that run that, not just farmers. I'm less concerned about farmer use, I think, than I am the UTVs and the dirt bikes that I see racing up and down that side. And I think that's where we are different than that section that I see when I used to travel down past Big Rock Canyon Mountain. And I would love to understand what their plan is, if there's a way for them to plan to include a section of, okay, we'll level off this dirt. It's not intended for this, but if you use it, use this. Because I would hate to see, and then understanding enforcement too. If the county's gonna wash their hands of, well, we'll have to get down that road with finances, but the county would have to agree
Yeah.
to actually enforce this,
And who knows how spread thin they are already.
right?
Again, it's a state thing.
It is, it's more it should be more UHP. It's coming to the table and saying, yeah, we'll help police that. But the worst thing that I could see is I have seen high schoolers that are walking, I've seen them biking along that road, and it
Yeah.
breaks my heart, and I wish there was another place for them to go.
Yeah.
But that I would hate for them to be on that trail and have somebody on a UTV coming at them full speed, and where do you go and what do you do? Because a bigger vehicle's gonna win.
Yeah.
And it would be nice if the kids in the UTV would get off the trail, but like more than likely, they're just gonna go for the bike and the bike's gonna have to bail.
Especially enforcement spread thin as it is. Yeah, no, it's a good point. Yeah, I think it get used as well, but yeah, it just causes other problems that.
And I think that's unique to our section. As we talk to UDOT, that's gonna be unique. They're not gonna see that.
Yeah. No, I brought it up. They're like, oh, we didn't even think about that. So yeah, you could have driven through here, like,
Huge in our area.
yeah. That is
And
good.
especially, yeah, there's a lot, but I know even myself, I've gone up our canyon and come down Manti, and then I've ridden back on my UTV on that dirt trail.
Yeah.
Been more than 4 years. Yeah.
Jurisdiction anyway.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Okay. But I think you'll have a lot of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Sorry.
any, in the meantime, if there's anything I can look into for your guys or whatever, I think in this case, it's very important to look and get towards them now. Because, you know, so. That's all I got though.
Thank you. 3B Sidewalk Management Program, Katie Lee.
Ideally, this would be Jeff Jensen, but he is on vacation, which is great. Okay, so what we have in front of us, the trust has several things that they would like to have us have official policies on. We do maintain, our sidewalks. We are always, you know, if there is something that we can fix, we fix it. I will say we have, thanks to Brian, we now know we have about $12 million worth of sidewalks in town. That's the value of our $12 million worth of sidewalks. And about 35 miles of sidewalks. So the purpose of this is to make sure that we have an inventory of our sidewalks and a program so that we are maintaining them. We inspect them, we rate them. So I'll tell you what we're doing right now. So we frequently will be contacted by homeowners saying, hey, I've got an area of sidewalk. I don't have, traditionally in Ephraim, the property owners have maintained their sidewalks. The trust is saying now that that's too bad. Because at the end of the day, if somebody gets hurt, they're not going to go for the homeowner, that they're coming to the city. So we have to have a more proactive inspection program instead of just somebody comes to us and says, hey, this area over here, highly utilized, probably we are aware of those areas and we have been chipping away at them. Just so you know, Brian, how much does it cost to do a new slab, for instance?
We've been given quotes by some local contractors at $15 a square foot. So
Mhm.
a 5-foot sidewalk, 1 foot of that, 5 times 15. 75 bucks a linear foot for sidewalk, yeah.
So what we have been doing is we set aside in the, is it streets budget?
Yeah.
Yes, streets budget. They do set aside a specific amount of money every year. It's like $15,000, $20,000 a year. I think 50.
It's varied the last couple of years.
Yeah.
We've had close to 50 and we've
Mhm.
done some bigger projects with some of that, a bigger pot of money, but it hasn't always been that big.
So, so my point is, we are trying to notch away at sidewalks. It is expensive. And what this does is put in policy an organized fashion in which way we are going to do that. Right? So, we are working with a company right now that is going to do an inventory of all 35 miles of sidewalk. After that, what we're going to do is we're gonna do a master plan of which are the most needed fixes. This is what we do anyway, but we're gonna have a more organized, written down plan instead of just in our minds, proactively, right? So, the trust is very wise in telling us that we should have this in writing, so we're gonna put it in writing. The one thing that I would point out, if you look at how often we would look at inspection program, point number 2, inspection program. Says sidewalks will be inspected on the defined cycle based on risk level. So it says downtown schools, transit, high pedestrian volume, and keep in mind that this is written more for an urban location. But I think that we might want to look at how frequently we look at our sidewalks. Perhaps we do half of these when, the downtown, that first level. Maybe we do half one year, half another year, just to keep our eyes on it. And so space that out a little bit more. Residential neighborhoods, maybe every 3 to 5. And obviously, when something comes up, people notify us and it's a problem, we'll prioritize that based on the need. Condition rating system. Maintenance and repair standards, we do have standards that we uphold for sidewalks. The prioritization framework, that's going to be the master plan that we're going to put together. And work order and tracking system, we have this in place already. If we get a complaint, we do a work order for that. So we have that tracked. So it doesn't fall through the cracks, as it were. And so public reporting and response. I would say inspected within 24 hours to 48. Let's if it's on a weekend or something.
Business hours.
Yes. All right, and so
Would we need to implement a reporting system, or is the reporting system just people calling in?
so the reporting system, so we do have a spreadsheet that we track these things. So we would just maintain that and be able, so the purpose, other than having better maintained and safer sidewalks, is that if a complaint does come to us, we have the records that say, okay, this was inspected on July 28th, 2024, and this was what was seen, and yeah, so anyway, so that way but I do want to caution you that we have a lot of sidewalks that could use a lot of help. But also we don't have all the funds that we would like. So we will have a master plan. We'll rank them. We will notch them off, but I cannot tell you that we're going to be able to have perfectly safe sidewalks in X amount of years, unless you want to take out a bond and redo all the sidewalks. I wish I could say different, but
Can I jump in on that?
absolutely.
So I did shortly after I got here, this is way back, probably 2006, 2007. We worked with the Snow College GIS students. They did an inventory of our entire sidewalk for damaged and missing sidewalk. At that time, there were somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 to $5 million worth of damaged or missing sidewalk many miles of damaged or missing. That was obviously 20 years ago. Prices have gone up considerably since then. So we traditionally, for a little while, it was hard to get much done of anything because we didn't have a lot of funding. We were doing $2,000 a year. I could barely do like a driveway with. And we bumped it up to 10,000 the last couple of years. It's been closer to 50,000 when we've had the ability to do so, right? So we have been able to get some big projects done. We got a couple of blocks done along Main Street down by Walmart. We replaced an entire cul-de-sac more recently where there were medical injuries and things like that from sidewalks where that's been replaced. So we have been chipping away at it, but it is a lot to take on. It's a big elephant.
So back to this. I assume that you have had time to read it. Are there anything specific that you would like to speak on or ask questions on? Yes.
I think we need to make sure business hours, if you.
Give a little
Give us
space.
some leeway.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
If I could maybe just throw in some comments. One, when I worked for Provo City as an assistant city attorney, this sidewalks were big. This was something that I dealt with all of the time in our risk management program. So I'm very familiar with this. The buck absolutely, from a legal perspective, stops at us. We would love to be able to pass that on to the homeowner, but we cannot. Case law is very clear. This is our responsibility. And we can ask homeowners to help us, but in the end, it is absolutely our responsibility.
Just on the outside of the property, along the outside of the property, right?
Yeah.
We don't have to.
Not the
maintain
driveways, not the
Yeah.
driveways.
Walkways.
Be public property, public
Yeah.
sidewalk.
Yeah, the sidewalk portion, even the portion that comes across your driveway, that's, the buck stops at us. If someone trips because there's a 2-inch displacement, even if it's in somebody's driveway, that's on us. The lawyers will come after us. They will not go after the homeowner.
That's why our insurance.
I'm amazed that our insurance is just asking for this now. This was, again, it was huge and it's been, but one thing that I would point out from experience, it's awesome and wonderful to have a plan. I love that we're putting together a plan. Spray paint is our best friend from a legal perspective.
Okay.
If we are aware of a problem and we go paint it red, we absolve ourselves of legal liability until we can fix it. If we have a plan that says this is what we're doing, we are approaching, we are going to attack it. I'm surprised. I had walked around on our sidewalks and wondered sometimes why I didn't see more spray paint. And this is probably why, because our insurer didn't really ask that of us. But absolutely, that will absolve us of legal liabilities.
I
if we
like spray paint.
Yep, so put
So can we add
that,
that in here?
Yes.
in that 24-hour, absolutely make it that business hours or 48 business hours. As long as we have that plan, it's reasonable and we're actually getting out there. So once we spray paint something too, going back and double checking on it and respray painting it every 2-3 months, whatever, 6 months, whatever we need to do, maintain it. And then we have our plan that says this is what we're going to do. From a legal perspective, we'll be in a really good place. And that should make our insurer happy, but also protect our
And
city.
yeah, and also we do want our residents to have a safe way to get from here to there. We absolutely want that. But we have this much money. So what can we do?
We have enough money for spray.
We do have enough money for spray paint, I'm pretty sure.
Well, there's places where the sidewalk ends that are dangerous,
Mhm.
and that needs to be addressed too. Okay? I mean, simply in front of my house that was never done, okay, where the sidewalk just falls off. Okay?
Just some nice spray paint along there.
Well,
Finish
the other one that was brought up was when, when Warren Nielsen, okay, when Warren built and we required him to make his sidewalk, okay, on Third East, okay, it just ends at his property. Okay? If you ride your bike, okay, on the road where Warren did what he was supposed to do, you'll end up in the ditch. And so some of these things we kind of need to take care of. Okay, at least a sign like saying. And
Where the sidewalk ends.
right? Drive a picket in there and says sidewalk ends. Okay,
The road begins.
if somebody goes off of there. Okay.
Okay.
I realize we're trying to fix little humps and bumps, but there's some other serious spots we need to identify.
Maybe it'll be a really circuitous path or something.
Yeah, that could be,
Yeah,
right.
So is this Domino's on the heaving, are we responsible for trees? Does that liability,
Mm.
If a tree,
are we gonna end up taking trees down?
from my experience, if a tree is causing a sidewalk to buckle, that's still our problem. We can still be sued for that, and that's where they'll come. So yes, as we're repairing and looking at repairs, if we've got a tree that's causing a problem with the sidewalk, we've got to be approaching that homeowner and saying, tree's got to come down. And that may also include us potentially paying to remove that. Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
But you're just asking for a plan right now to start this in motion.
That's, and I do want to emphasize, we have been working on this. This is just, putting it into policy.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I don't want you to.
Anything you'd like to add, or to add, or when it comes before the action agenda?
Okay,
I think that's great.
okay, that's great feedback. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. 3C, driver qualification policy, Candace.
All right, another thing from the trust. Okay, so this is concerning employee drivers that are driving our vehicles. We do, if you look on page 30 and 31, everything in red is basically what the trust has asked us to put in. Everything in black is what is already existing in our policy. So basically, if you go down to the analysis on the bottom of 27, the most significant addition to this policy is the implementation of a driver qualification program. So I just wanted to let you know, the trust sends me monthly all of our employee drivers and what their points and incidents are on their driver's license, whether personal or within the city, okay? So I am glad to report I got it today, and there is not one employee that has any points on it because a couple fell off. I'm laughing about that. I get reports. First time I've worked here that I've never seen points on there, so we'll enjoy this moment.
Can I interrupt just one
Yes.
second? You also, if there are points on you, we'll find out, just. We'll let you know.
Yeah.
It comes out
If you're
when
driving city
you're going.
vehicles, if you're driving
No,
city
it will
vehicles.
come to Candace.
Yeah,
Dig deep.
yeah. So anyway, I do get this motor vehicle record every single month, and we open it, every new employee we get, I put on it, even if they're part-time, if they're driving a city vehicle in any way, shape or form, they're going to be on this. So
That's
this,
part of the small print when they are hired. Do they agree to have that employment be looked at? That privacy to be,
actually,
uh,
I'm not sure, I'm gonna have to look at that.
In the employee handbook. to say-
Well, it's gonna be, yeah, they do sign for the employee handbook, yes. They sign that they received it and they were assigned, or they signed that they agreed to what's in it. So this is going to solidify it even more, by putting in this MVR report conditioning into this policy. So if we go to that part, I'm not gonna sit and read through all of this, you guys can see it, but basically, the most important part is it's putting in here what is acceptable, what is borderline acceptable, and what is unacceptable. And acceptable being up to 2 violations recorded. And that's the only thing I've ever seen. I've never seen anything above that in the 4 years that I've looked at that report. Up to 1 at-fault work-related accident in the prior 3 years, or a combination of 1 violation on the MVR and 1 at-fault work-related accident in the last 3 years. This, from what I understand, is pretty typical for, and this is what the trust is asking every city that they cover to put into their policy. And I personally am grateful for it, because before there was nothing in our policy concerning these things, and I have asked, well, at what point do I need to be worried? So I appreciate these guidelines so that I know when we need to sit down and say, there's a problem. There's a problem, and go from there. So in borderline, we're gonna go more into more violations, a fault work-related accidents in the last 3 years, or a DUI or DWI in the last 5 years, or any violation for carelessness, recklessness, or distracted driving. And then unacceptable, no valid driver's license, recent DUI conviction, and 4 or more violations recorded on the MVR. And it also does notify me if anyone's driver's license becomes expired, I get a notification. So everybody has to keep a valid driver's license. And then it begins to talk about the single violations. we're gonna take it pretty seriously if somebody's getting a drunk driving violation. On their record. So do you guys have any questions or any issues, any changes that you would like, additions that you would like to be made to this policy?
You guys are hitting all the right buttons tonight. This is another one that for me is near and dear to my heart. As I worked for Provo City, we found that we were at fault in 80% of our accidents, and I was tasked with rewriting our city policy on this. And it took me 3 years to get all my department heads on board, but we went through and did some major changes. So this is beautiful to see. One comment on this, everything that I see looks normal to me, looks like what I recognize as being similar to what I did when I was there, which I did a bunch of research to make sure that was in place. When we look at the unacceptable portion, we drop the DWI and go to only DUI. I think it'd be wise to make sure we put the DWI in there. We use the word conviction there. I wonder if we would not be wiser from a legal liability standpoint to say charge.
Charge, okay.
It's a term of art, because if someone gets charged with the DUI, we as a city, if we allow them to continue to drive and they cause an accident and we're aware of the charge, we could be left holding bigger legal liability for that. So I wonder, can have that conversation with our legal counsel if we can make it a charge rather than a conviction. And I know that there's going to have to be, there may have to be some leeway that we put in there that says, you know, if it's a charge, then you're on probation. If it's a conviction, then it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
But we've got to have something in place that protects us from major charges like that, not just a conviction.
I think that's a very valid point. And that's one of the reasons I love your feedback, because this is very boilerplate. And sometimes we want more than boilerplate. So if you have any, if you're going through this, if you have any other comments, any of you, let us know. Be glad to make any changes, but we'll definitely talk to Nick about that, but I think that's a wise point, and that we should probably do that. Anything else? Hey, this will be back in 2 weeks.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
3D drought pricing, Katie.
Okay.
Are we gonna drop?
Yes, we are in a drought. If you'll see this chart that that Brian put together for us. We are at about 50% of where we were last year as far as water is concerned. And last year wasn't a great year either, right?
That's last year average years.
Average years. Okay, so the chart speaks for itself. So we have been contemplating this, trying to figure out the right way to encourage our residents to use less water, because there's going to be less to be had. So briefly, I'll just say that we've just gone through our water rates, and you understand that we have 5 tiers and the approximate amounts. So when we were looking at this, we were thinking we can either put in restrictions and then have to enforce those, or we could use additional usage fees. Now, we are recommending to council that we go with additional usage fees. We, at this point, do not recommend that we have restrictions. We have recommendations, strong recommendations, but not restrictions. We have found that when we have official restrictions, that makes our police have to go out and enforce them, ticket them, also our public works employees as well. It brings a real negative spirit into neighborhoods, and people are turning each other in. And so what we decided to do instead is focus on usage fees. So I will say that originally we were aiming much higher with the usage fees. We were going to keep the base rate, which is change. We were going to increase the base rate in October, but we are now needing to increase the base rate in July 1st because our water usage, we're going to be selling a lot less water, right? And so in order to maintain the system, we're increasing that base rate sooner rather than in October. We were trying to cushion the blow with the base rate increase. So that will be $47. Now, we were going to have tier 2 pay $3 per 1,000 gallons. And then everything over 30,000 gallons, you would be paying $5.50. Okay, that is very, very heavy. That is very heavy. We had some debate internally about that. And what we have decided to do is we are recommending a 25% increase across the board. All right, so base rate is base rate. All right, so if you use 7,000 gallons or less, you just pay $47. If you use 30,000, you're gonna pay $2.34 per 1,000 gallons. And it goes up from there. So it's 25% more than what our usage rate typically is. We were considering on our large users to increase 50%. That would be Snow College, school district, church, temple, all right? I reached out to my counterpart in each of those organizations, and I just said, we are 50% down. Can you cut your usage by 50%? And they all said, yes, we can do that. So they are all working on plans right now to decrease their usage by 50%. We just are not going to have the water that we usually have. And so I just want to thank my counterparts in these other organizations for their willingness to step up to the plate and being willing to make some sacrifices. I will say from the city's point, we also are going to be cutting our usage by 50%. What that is going to look like, unfortunately, probably we're going to lose Canyon View Park, the bowl, the soil that was used in building that is not great. The drainage has been awful. We cannot put enough water on that to keep it green. So we're just going to let it go and start over again next year and amend the soil, get the good drainage in, and save water into the future. We will not be watering more than twice a week at any location. Small caveat, cemetery with sod might still have to do a little bit of that, but we are also looking at taking out lawn on the east side of the city building. We're looking at taking out sod in front of the library. So we are not just forcing this on our residents. We as a city are committed to slow the flow also. So we believe if we can have our residents decrease their water usage, that's the goal, decrease your water usage by 50%. And do not water more than twice a week. And so and I know that that's going to be really difficult for some. So the no watering more than twice a week, that's a recommendation, very strong recommendation. Please do not put in new sod. This is not the year to put in new sod. It's a bad year to put in new sod. Please do not water between the hours of 10 and 6. 10 in the morning, 6 at night because of evaporation. It's not good usage of that water. So these are the things that we are planning to do regardless of what the council votes on tonight. But we would recommend that you go for the 25% increase. However, this is your decision. We are not voting on it tonight. We'll be voting on it in 2 weeks. If you want to give me direction to come back with something different, I can do that. So with that being said, what questions can I answer for you?
I personally checked mine.
Mhm.
I was third tier, July, August, September,
That's not bad.
so 34,000 gallons, so I can see where I can, like, personally cut back.
Mhm.
So I think we need to charge anytime we're running the well as opposed to getting the flow from it's costing us money, electricity, those types of things, so I do think we need to charge, so that's my
Mhm.
thought.
Okay.
I was glad I wasn't listed as one of the major users.
I almost checked everybody's and said, we have a user that
But I.
uses this much.
I commit to reduce mine by 50% from last year as well.
Okay.
One thing that I would love to see more of if we're going to go down this road. I recognize we're going down this road. We're in an extreme drought. We need to do something. One of the things that I don't feel like we have done enough of as a city is educate. Because like, I started thinking, well, what can I do to reduce my water? And there was this thought, well, okay, I remember Gunnison and talking to a friend that lived there at one point, they had to shut off theirs. I don't remember, it was like May or June, a few years back. And they lost trees, they lost yards. I did have some conversation with Ralph Squire, the school district too, to just kind of chat with him. At that same time, they shut off some water to some of their grass. They lost grass and they're still struggling to get those areas back. So I started trying to understand, okay, so what does that look like for me as a homeowner? Like if I just shut off my water, my grass only goes dormant for so long before it just dies. And we encourage beautification for not just for aesthetics. It also gives us oxygen. It also cools our air. It's cooler because we have more vegetation. There are benefits to having yards. And I want to make sure that we are educating so that citizens can help preserve their investment appropriately. So I don't know if I know Utah State, nothing against our neighbor, Snow College, but I know Utah State has an extension that they can help individuals with water usage within their own home. I've had them come to my home before, not my home here, it was my home in Provo, but I believe that service is still available to us here.
Yes, and actually, Candace was talking to the folks at Slow the Flow, and they are willing to come down and present to council and give some education. And we have the opportunity to do more education. If you saw June's newsletter, there's a piece in the newsletter about more drought tolerant plantings. We are trying to post more on social media, borrowing from others, from Slow the Flow and other places. But absolutely, more education, more ideas are always welcome. So I really like that idea.
And we're getting the word out, I guess,
Mhm.
the newsletter, how else are we getting the word out?
So if,
How would we
okay, so
to get the word?
this would come back to council in 2 weeks' time. And then this would go into effect, the drought pricing goes into effect June 20th, because that's the beginning of our new cycle. Now, if you give me direction and that this is kind of the way that you want to go, what we're going to do is we're going to start using our Outify system to send direct messages, text messages to people to make them aware. We are going to obviously put it in the next newsletter. We're going to be putting it on our social media. And I assume that this will hit Facebook release in like 2 minutes, right? And we'll have a good vigorous debate with our community on Facebook as well and spread the word that way. So education and making sure people know before the ticker starts, right? We want them to understand, and we might do a special mailing, right? To let people know ahead of time, do not run your water the way you have been running it, because it's going to be very expensive.
Even letting them know how to check their usage, right? How do you
Mhm.
check your
I
usage?
came and asked.
Oh, okay.
But we also, you can check online as well, which we should make people more aware of.
And even letting people know, we don't need to run our sprinklers twice a week now.
If it doesn't need it,
Not
we
yet.
had a really good rain over the weekend, right? So,
So that would be good information from the extension or somebody
mhm,
during this month or this temperature.
mhm.
This is how many times we need water, how much, how many inches or whatever.
Mhm.
Once a week for deep is all you need.
Right.
I will be very hesitant to punish if we haven't educated.
Right. So,
Because raising the rates is punishment for doing something wrong. And if you're not telling them you're doing something wrong, it's not fair
mhm,
to punish,
yes.
from my perspective.
Surprise.
Okay, if we do a mailer, a text, is that enough? Social media,
We could shut off their water until they acknowledge they've.
I think Ez would like that.
I don't know what the appropriate is, but I do know that we need more education on this because I'm afraid, honestly, that we are gonna have some residents that this will hit hard enough. They'll just shut off their water. And guess what? They're not gonna replant a yard.
Mhm.
They're not gonna replant trees.
A few years.
And then we're gonna be in trouble as a city, because then we're gonna go after them because they don't have a yard and they don't have a tree in a few
Yeah.
years.
So,
Just a thought on that, a few years ago, and Dennis, remind me, 5 years ago, maybe. Yes, we weren't on council here, but Mayor Scott. It wasn't a water restriction, but in the newsletter, those types of things. Definitely said be wise, but there was no hammer to it, right?
mhm,
In the most recent one, 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
This one is severe enough, right, that we're actually,
Right.
we've got some sort of.
yes. Now, it is up to you. If you do not want to charge 25% increase, that is up to you. Some people wanted to go higher, some people, so honestly, it's up to you. 25% across the board, it would get people's attention without crushing them, right? We do not want to crush people, right? But we do want them to pay attention to how much water they're using. So I have some numbers.
just because we aren't turning on the splash pad likely this entire
Correct.
year.
Mhm.
And we've talked to our biggest users, some of our biggest users, and they are informed. This is very intentional. And they're not gonna be surprised. I guess the other option, I think I'm somewhat in favor of this 25%. Let's see how it goes, but I'm also concerned, but if by managing things like splash pad, I don't know if that accounts to 1% of the water usage, it's probably not even 1%. But the other big users, is it necessary to restrict the rest, or just educate and hope that they will manage those things? Like Jack and I are watering less this year. Will the rest to be from follow suit without a hammer? At least I just jumped on my app for the sprinklers and I simply cut everything in half. If it was 40 minutes, I did 20 minutes. If it was, and so
Cutting back,
I am,
slowing the flow.
And there's, fertilizing, cutting your lawns longer. There are other things we can do too that will help as we slow.
taking fewer showers.
Inside use, as it turns out,
You're on
I
that.
just want to let you know, the use of water inside the house, there is no problem whatsoever with having enough water for people to use inside their house. It is specifically the lawns. It's the lawns that are chewing up so much of our water. So, prioritize trees, prioritize shrubs, mulch. So more education, absolutely necessary, making sure everybody knows ahead of time. So do be thinking, I'm sure there's gonna be people in our community who have very strong feelings one way or another. Listen to them. And if there's an idea that's out there that we haven't thought of yet, let's have it, but whatever we do, we just need to make sure everybody knows the rules and everybody knows that we are really in a drought and we really, really do need to cut back.
Got some numbers?
I had some numbers, thank you. All right, so currently for tier 2, last year, you would have paid about $73 for 30,000 gallons, okay? So
Max of tier 2.
max of tier 2, right? So that would be your $30 base plus 23,000 gallons at $1.87, okay? So for tier 2, this year, it would be 101, okay? So the base rate, we are recommending going up to $47 and 23,000 gallons at $2.34, which equals $54. So difference is, okay, it was 73 going up to 101. So yes, so enough to make you pay attention, not enough to absolutely crush you. The highest, if you used 120,000 gallons, last year it would have cost you $435. And how that's calculated is you get your first 7,000 gallons is included in your base rate. The next 23,000 gallons is charged at one rate, blah, 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 down like that. So 120,000 gallons was 435 last year, and it will be, and I have the wrong number. No. I have the wrong number. It was 289 last year, and it would be 371 for the large users. Okay. So those are just some examples. So not insignificant, but not enough to like kick you in the gut. Well, it depends on.
The increase of 25%.
Mhm. Yeah,
With the base rate and the.
and the base rate being increased July 1st
rather than October 1st, as we had previously discussed. Okay. Any other questions from the council? All right, we still have time to talk about this. I know there's probably people in the audience who want to talk and ask questions, and we will continue to have this conversation. We're going to continue to talk to our large water users. We're going to just continue to talk about this to try to get the best possible plan as we go forward. All right,
Thank you.
all right, thanks.
As you talk with the school district, recognizing that we will be shutting down the Canyon View Park.
Yes,
With shutting that down, as I talked to Superintendent Squire, he talked about also shutting down, as he was looking at the middle school, shutting down an area that is
Yes.
heavily used. I know on the weekends, there is a contingency, and even evenings, there's a contingency of our community that heavily used that park and the soccer fields right there next to the middle school. As I talked with Ralph, Ralph said that's where he was going to shut down. If he shuts that down and we shut down, where are those citizens going to go?
But I would, he told me that as well. And if they want to use Canyon View Park, even though we're not watering there, they can still play soccer there.
Sure.
You know, we don't care if it gets ripped up, but what he needs is he needs it blocked, his section blocked off, because he feels like he can preserve that and just have it go dormant. And we're going to try to support him in that.
So that's just, my point is,
Right.
please continue to work with them, and please recognize that there is a contingency within our community that heavily use our parks, and
And that's what they're there for.
so
Right.
hopefully we don't displace those individuals.
Right, right. Yep. Right, thank you.
Thank you. Move along to section 4 action agenda. ECO 26-8, consideration and possible adoption of an ordinance amending the Etham City Consolidated Fee Schedule. John.
Is it John or was it me? Oh, it's both of us.
It says Joan, but let's do.
Let's have
We
John.
both
Let's
make it.
refresh the floor.
Yeah, so we talked about this last time, so I don't know if you have more questions. I guess I'm specifically only looking at water, sewer, and power rates on here, so we discussed the base rate increase on water, the increase on sewer, and then the power as previously discussed with the rate study that was passed for that 3 years. I don't know if you have any questions further on those 3 utilities for me.
With regard to the power, if we put this increase in place, when are we going to need to go back to our citizens to say now we need more?
That depends on if we want to go straight into another rate study or if we want to maintain where it's at for a period of time. We haven't discussed when we would do another rate study on that.
The rate study that we did 3 years ago was for 5 years.
Yep.
So we could, so we will need to decide, or is it just gonna continue if we don't do anything? Is it just gonna continue at the 3rd year for those last couple of years?
Yep, as it is right now, it'll just be that 3rd year, unless we want to look at the 4th and 5th year, or if we want to look at redoing a rate study, or if we just want to just call it good for a year or 2 or 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
I have not had discussions with Corey on this to see what his thoughts are, so as of right now, we're gonna do the 3rd year and probably discuss it more when we look at budget next year if we're good with that. Years 4 and 5, I will say this was a phased approach, and years 4 and 5 really don't change the rate much. What it does is it increases the base rate, which covers the infrastructure, trucks, equipment, employees, and then the power cost. So we're just kind of shifting that so that the base rate would go up a little bit, and then the power cost, the tiered structure would decrease a little bit, but the net effect on years 4 and 5 really don't have much change as far as what is billed per meter. But yeah, that's definitely something that we will be looking at, whether we do it now or a little bit down the road. I don't have an answer on that one yet.
Any other questions?
And all three of those are online. If you want to look at the rate studies, you look at 4 and 5 for the utility or for the power if you want. There's all online available for any review.
Thanks, John. Now, where there were, I mean, there is consolidated in with this, these
We're gonna
fees,
have
right?
Megan come up next.
All right, I did send out an email with the rate study that went over the business license fees. Do any of you have any questions regarding that?
You just, for those out in YouTube land and
Yep.
just kind
Yeah,
of.
I just wanted to make sure you didn't have
quick
any
sum.
specific questions regarding that. Okay, so a number of years ago, there was a situation where a miner wanted to operate, I think it was maybe like a snow cone stand or lemonade stand. I can't remember exactly as I wasn't here at the time. And it was a miner and there was some upset about the cost of a business license fee. At the time, it was decided by the council at the time to reduce all business license fees to $50. It's also important to note, minors do not need business licenses, so your child can operate a lemonade stand if they so choose, without any need for a stand or a license.
Your permissions.
Yes. Go for it. Since then, we have essentially been operating in a deficit. There was a fee study conducted by Zions Bank in 2018, to which they broke down all of the costs in each department and the amount of time that each individual who in some way has to touch that business license before it gets issued. There was a recommended what it actually costs the city to produce these business licenses. So we increased to just under that. And it was, because has been so low for so long, it was quite the jump. But the understanding back then was that we would still need to do more increases to get us where we needed to function and make sure cover the cost of business licensing. So we kind of went off that base number. We did do a little bit more of an increase just because that was from 2018. We calculated the word has left my mind.
Current value of.
Inflation or the like COLA, or the cost of what that has been over the number of years, and kind of increased it by that percentage as well, to the number that you see in front of you. And the same with zoning permit fees. All of those fees have been exactly the same for 20 or more years, have never been increased. And those go through quite the rigorous review process and things like that. So.
Any questions?
No. No, you can ask after.
Are you asking the?
No, I'm asking the council members if they have any questions for Megan.
Some of us already discussed.
Well, it's been on the study agenda. We had it here on the action agenda last time and we pushed it to tonight. So
Thanks for bringing it back and.
if no questions,
One thing,
comments?
not specific to Megan, this one may go more to Katie. I know there was some discussion at our last meeting with regard to the sewer and water rate increases that we would also include an annual inflationary increase that's based on the federal inflation rate.
Yeah, the CPI.
Yeah, CPI. Thank you.
Yes. And that is
That's in
included.
That in there, I didn't see that, my bad, I missed it.
If you look
Okay.
at, see if I've got the right page here.
Oh, I saw it in our last. So items for our last meeting, I just didn't notice it in.
49, bottom of the page.
Thank you, very good. Page 49.
Thank you.
You, any others? Questions or comments? Is there a motion?
I motion that we approve PCO 26-08. The Ephraim, for the amendment of the Ephraim City Consolidated Fee Schedule, including adjustments to water and sewer utility rates, as well as other department fees.
Motion made by Councilmember Beal.
Would the councilman be willing to look at a friendly amendment?
Sure.
Two things that, I guess three things technically. One, that we also authorize staff to make any non-substantive formatting or Scrivener's corrections prior to publication. Second amendment would be on that rate increase annually based on the CPI, that we do a maximum of 3%.
3 or less.
Yeah, 3% annually. And that we review that rate at least every 3 years.
Okay with that? Any concerns?
Yeah, was that all three?
Yeah, those are my three.
Okay. Candace, would you like me to restate some of those or?
I got it.
Okay, I was writing just in case.
So we have a motion with those amendments
Yes.
included by Councilmember Beal,
I would second that motion. With those
seconded by Councilmember Powell, all in favor.
Yes.
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 Any opposed?
Yes.
One opposed? All right, we have 4-1 is the vote, so it passes. Thank you. All right. Thanks everyone for your good work tonight. There's a lot of stuff, but we have a city manager report.
I think my brain is empty. I think there was something, but I've forgotten it. If
We had a nice push-in ceremony for our, go ahead.
Yeah, so our department hosted a push-in ceremony last night, and we have a new fire truck that was paid for by the fire district and the CIB. And these are large ticket items that we would never be able to pay for. So it was just really great to have new equipment for our folks to be using. Great words from our Mayor Pro Tem. Also, we had people from Manti Fire,
Sterling.
Gunnison,
Spring City.
yeah, all there in support. So there's probably between 50 and 75 people there. So really good group. So thank you for reminding me.
Thank you. There's no other business. Well, I would
Move that we adjourn.
thank you very much. We have a motion to adjourn by Councilmember Powell,
Second.
second by Councilmember Bill, all in favor.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I heard no opposes, so it's adjourned.